Hey guys, how's it going? Rubik's Master here, and I'm coming at you with my first video in 2 weeks, and I'm sorry about that. I originally planned on just taking a week break while I did my military duty, but then my family was moving to town and had to take care of a few things with that. Anyway, I'm back on this Monday, and we're going to pick up back where we left off, going pretty hard, and there's a lot of information that I've missed out on, or missed out on sharing with you guys, sharing the experience of hearing about it and whatnot, part of that being the event coming up this week. So I'm really looking forward to that. I actually want to touch on that real quick. Just one thing I saw in this, if it'll load. Here we go. So the second one down, United Front Recon. Our recon teams have discovered the United Front strategies are highly effective against rush tactics. Click here for more details. Rush tactics have been basically the bread and butter of this game from the get-go. The only thing that's really changed that has been fairly recent updates. So this is going to be our first event where we're going to basically have to use the same methodical attacks that we have in recent times against PvP, and we're going to have to use that in an event, so it's going to be pretty cool. What are a couple other things? Oh, unrelated things to War Commander. I am still planning on getting a gaming computer sometime in the future, so yes, that is coming. Hopefully more better content. In relation to that, there are two things that I've seen coming to mobile devices recently that have me super excited, especially since I do a lot of traveling, so most of my gaming ends up having to be done on mobile devices. One is something I saw a little while ago, which is that Paladins is coming to mobile. It looks like a slightly different version, a more up-down. If you don't know what Paladins is, it's kind of a competitor with Overwatch, but it's a little bit more of an actual MOBA like League of Legends. Um, as a console game, it's a first-person type game. It's going to be a top-down third-person for mobile devices, but I'm really looking forward to seeing it. And another thing that's coming is Fortnite. If you don't know what Fortnite is, it's basically the most popular game on consoles and PCs right now. And it just kind of came out of nowhere. It's a battle royale, 100 players versus everybody. And it's coming to mobile devices. So that's going to be super cool. I'm definitely going to be looking forward to and trying to play that if I can. But those two games to me kind of herald that people are becoming more serious about mobile devices, and hopefully we'll be getting a lot more cool games that aren't really pay to win like these. But anyway, let's get into the subject that I want to talk about today, specifically for War Commander, and there's a lot of subjects I have to catch up on, but one of the coolest things that I kind of got glazed over with the incoming tank update was the M270s. Everybody knows that the M270 now has anti-air guns, but I kind of wanted to address it for people that are lower levels and maybe don't know fully how to implement it yet. When I first saw that M270s had AA capabilities, I thought it was stupid overpowered. Why on earth would you give a tank anti-air capabilities that negates tons of other units? But it turns out my fears are moot. They don't really hold weight. So you can't use your anti-air equipment, which is down here at the bottom, and actually only costs, I think it was 25,000 points in an event. So super cheap, but your vehicle has to be level 8 to use it. So you're going to be a fairly high level and have done a lot of grinding to be able to actually use this AA weapon. Also, well, let's just look at it real quick. Looking at the numbers doesn't really tell you much, but DPS 151, damage 493, reload time 3. A lot of this is just kind of redundant information. Rounds per minute 240, weapon type ballistic missile, and targets air. So, really I'm going to break down for you exactly what this item means, or what it's good for. It is most useful for Reapers or Avengers, the things that pop out of the airfield to as defenders. This is exceptionally good at taking those out because the maximum range on your AA weapon on the M270 is longer than the range of the Reapers, at least. I don't know the actual range on the Avengers. Not going to check that out. I'm pretty sure it's actually a shorter range. You know what? I don't want to just talk out of my butt. Let's go check that out real quick. So I know it outranges the Reaper, and the Reaper has a range of 200. The Avenger has a range of 300, so I would imagine it does not outrange the Avenger. Haven't really messed around with that a lot. Not a ton of people use Avengers for defense in their airfield. I do have Raptors now, side note, but they're stupid expensive, so we'll get to those later. But anyway, back to the M270. It is awesome for taking out those defending Reapers. It takes them out very, very quickly. Even just a salvo of 3 or 4 base level rockets will take out a Reaper. It is also fairly useful in taking out Cobras. Defending Cobras are pretty nice. This level 5, or the 5 level 8 M270s I have in this platoon, which is the platoon I have been using the most recently, can take out a defending Cobra platoon or Cobra squad, whatever, of like, the typical one is 2 Cobras. It can take them out in 2 to 3 volleys. Again, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's fairly good at that. However, you'll notice I have Zeus's, because you really still have to have Zeus's. There's no way around it. Zeus's are good, first off, for defending against enemy infantry, but they also supplement the AA capabilities, because M270s with their AA power cannot kill Hinds. They cannot. It takes way too long. The Hinds end up doing tons of damage because they are an area of effect attack, and they're just a massive pain in the butt. So you do need a little bit of other anti-air capability, whether it be snipers or Zeus's, to take out those Hinds. Zeus's are also pretty handy for taking out the defending airfield, the Reapers or Avengers. But something else I like to use the Zeus's for, in addition to the M270s, once the defending helicopters are taken care of, since this platoon is so slow moving, while I bust the rest of the base with my tanks and M270s, my Zeus's can start going around the outside of the base and cleaning up the smaller buildings to save time later, because the main issue I've had with this platoon is I win a lot. I win a lot more than I lose, but I've had trouble getting 100% victories just because this platoon is so slow. So that's kind of the gist of the M270. Oh, something else good about it. This should be fairly obvious to anyone that's played the game in the 2 weeks I've been gone. M270s now outrange railguns. Now, this huge turret, the heavy platform with the heavy turret, has the exact same range as the railgun. So that means your M270s can outrange railguns and the heavy turret. So that kind of throws a wrench into the works for base defense. Whoops, didn't want to move that. I will go into the base defense that I have adopted later on. It has been extremely effective. It's actually the most effective base defense I have created yet, though it still needs a couple tweaks. But anyway, that's basically it. There's so much that's happened in the game that I love. Even though I haven't been making videos on it, I have been able to play a lot more, except over the last week, whatever, blah, blah. And I'm super happy with how the game is. Ever since I started playing it, when it basically first went public about 1.5 years ago, there's always been an off balance between attacking and defending. Either the attackers were too strong, and that's how it was for most of the time, but until the recent update, it was that the defenses were too strong. You ended up incurring massive damages, you had lots of oil for anybody that had a halfway decent base defense. So, obviously I'm not included in that. But I feel like now the balance is really, really good. If you have someone that has a really good concept of base defense, you're going to have someone else that's really, really good with attacking to actually be able to bust that base. Whereas someone who just coins their way to the top and buys all their upgrades with real money and doesn't really invest the time to know how to build a base defense, even though they have super powerful defenses, they'll be taken out fairly easily by someone who has a good grasp on attacking. Because if your railguns and heavy turret can be outranged by M270s, that's a big deal. You have to compensate for that with other turrets, whether it be your Peacemaker or your Howitzer or salvo turrets, which I don't use anymore, but that's just personal preference. You just have to be able to compensate for it a bit. But yeah, I hope to bring you guys some good content on that in the future and how I do my base and the event that's coming up, all this good stuff. But until then, y'all have an awesome day.